Eyewitness News in high definition.
Coming up on Eyewitness News this morning, a new policy in place for people seeking asylum. We have details from the border.
Plus, a woman was shot inside her own home. We'll have all the details coming up.
And some humidity and clouds out there, keeping temperatures a little bit cooler this afternoon in your pinpoint weather forecast.
This is CBS 47 Eyewitness News this morning in high definition.
Are you excited about the humidity?
It's
all
the
good.
First thing I think of.
Yeah, right, when you wake up at 5:30 in the morning. Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. You know who's awake right now is Anthony Bailey.
Anthony, yeah, he just texted you.
Yes, you know, Anthony, if you're watching, hello.
Hi, Anthony.
He is probably the only person that still wakes up at 2 a.m. when he's off.
Well, we do have some humidity today, and that's making things exciting. We could see some more little thunderstorms pop up in the Sierra, so maybe that's why he's up. Maybe that's why other meteorologists are up, kind of watching this monsoon of moisture right now. A live look through Miller's Landing, their marina camera there showing the clouds over the sky in the background, and it's just looking quite nice out there. 65 degrees, winds are calm there, and this is still in night vision mode here on our rooftop, our camera there showing. The cool thing about night vision mode is you can see the clouds in the sky, and you can make out what kind of clouds they are, although it is black and white.
Yeah.
77 degrees, 6-mile-per-hour wind, and you do see that cloud cover there. That's what's keeping us warmer right now, but will keep us cooler later on today.
So what clouds are those, Justin?
Those are some stratus clouds over the area.
Those are the thin ones, right?
And we're going to see, yeah, they're just kind of stretched out over the valley. We haven't had as many problems with that inversion this summer because of, all of the mixing that's come from every so many days. We may get some fresh air, we may get some monsoon moisture here coming from the other direction. So that's really cool stuff as far as conditions. But yesterday was a hot one, 104 degrees. Today we will be cooler, 98.
That looks good compared to yesterday.
That is right on average, yeah.
Good. All right. Thanks, Justin. We'll take it. A day after blasting NATO ally countries for not putting up money for military spending, President Trump now says progress is being made. The president gave an impromptu press conference in Brussels about an hour ago. He said the allies committed to increase their defense spending. Only 5 members, including the U.S., are currently paying the requested 2% of their nation's GDP on defense spending, and President Trump wants to raise that to 4%.
The United States commitment to NATO is very strong, remains very strong, but primarily because everyone, the spirit they have, the amount of money they're willing to spend, the additional money that they will be putting up has been really, really amazing to see it. To see the level of spirit in that room is incredible.
The president travels next to the UK. He will meet with Prime Minister Theresa May and also have tea with the Queen. There is a new policy in place at the border for people seeking asylum. Andrew Spencer has those details.
Newly reunited with his 3-year-old son, Honduran migrant Josue Rodriguez now has to convince a judge that his life is in danger if he goes back home. Like many others, he's seeking asylum in the United States. But immigrants fleeing their homes under certain threats of violence may no longer get the chance to plead their cases in court. The Department of Homeland Security gave new guidance on Wednesday to officers who interview asylum seekers. They're being told fears of gang violence or domestic violence no longer qualify for asylum, and that those claims should be rejected immediately. Rodriguez says he was turned away at an official border crossing 4 times before resorting to crossing the border illegally, something that under the new guidelines could be weighed against his claim for asylum. Friday, attorneys from the ACLU and the Department of Justice will be back in court. There, the judge will check the status of any children under 5 who have not yet been reunited with their parents. And the court still needs to address how many thousands of older children still need to be reunited by the judge's next deadline, July 26th. I'm Andrew Spencer reporting.
The alleged Golden State Killer heads back to court today. Joseph D'Angelo, a former Exeter police officer, is accused of murdering 12 people and raping more than 50 others throughout the state in the 70s and 80s. D'Angelo is now 72 years old. He is facing charges in several of those cases. New this morning, firefighters are investigating the cause of a car fire in downtown Fresno. Crews arrived on scene at Santa Fe and Butler around 2 o'clock this morning. And as you just saw there, all that's left of the car is just the wheels and a bit of the car frame. The fire spread to part of the IPT Incorporated building and did cause some damage. The fire is now out. No one was hurt. Investigators will be looking at surveillance video to figure out how that fire started. Developing in Fresno County this morning, a woman is recovering after she was hit by gunfire inside her own home. It happened in Malaga last night near Onley and Harding Avenues, and a suspect is still on the loose at this hour. Our Fabiola Ramirez is live at the Fresno County Sheriff's Office with details. Fabiola, good morning.
Good morning. Now, deputies say a woman and someone else were arguing outside a house when the woman tried to go. Shots were fired. The woman was taken to the hospital with minor injuries, and they tell us she's expected to be okay. Last night, by the time sheriff's deputies arrived, the suspect had left. Officials were actively looking throughout the night and knocking on neighboring homes to see if anyone had seen or heard anything. At this point, it is unclear what's the relationship between the victim and the suspect.
It doesn't happen often, but anytime an incident like this takes place, it takes a priority, and we need to ensure the safety of the community, and we want to make sure that we can investigate it and prevent this from happening in the future.
If anyone has any information about this case, they're asked to contact Crime Stoppers at 498-STOP. Now, right now, we don't have any further description of what the suspect looks like, but we're waiting to get that information from deputies. Live outside the Sheriff's Department, Fabiola Ramirez, CBS 47 Eyewitness News.
Fabiola, thank you. It is a story you saw first on Eyewitness News. We have more details now in the deadly officer-involved shooting in Los Banos. It happened near 7th and H Street yesterday afternoon. Officers say just before 12:30, a landscaper saw a man with a handgun and called police. Officers responded and say that man was uncooperative. He told officers he was armed and did not follow their commands.
Up his shirt with one hand, retrieves the firearm, the handgun, with his other hand and begins to withdraw it from his waistline. As in response to that, one of the officers fires one round at the man, striking him in the abdomen.
That man was transported to the hospital but later died. Police say they're still trying to identify him. We have no word yet if drugs or alcohol were involved. Continuing coverage now out of Reedley, police have confirmed the deaths of a mother and her 2 children were a murder-suicide. They say 32-year-old Vera Lucia Diaz-Nunez drowned her 21-month-old daughter and her 4-year-old son in their bathtub, then hanged herself. Her husband found their bodies Tuesday night. No specific motive is known yet, but they say the mother had been suffering recently from depression. It is 5:38 now. A Fresno man has entered a not guilty plea in the death of a 2-year-old who shot and killed himself using that man's gun. It happened last weekend. Oscar Ramos is facing felony charges in the death of 2-year-old Jace Alexander. Officials say Ramos was warned by the boy's father to keep the gun out of reach. Police say a cheap gun lock could have prevented the tragedy.
As simple as putting the cable through this is called the magazine well, and locking it.
But in that balance, I'm keeping that.
The judge set a provisional bail for Ramos at $30,000. He is scheduled to be back in court on the 17th. Fresno police are asking for your help this morning to find the thief responsible for several cigarette burglaries. 11 of those thefts happened in Northwest and Northeast Fresno before business hours. The most recent was yesterday at Jack's Car Wash in Northwest Fresno. Police say in many of these cases, the same suspect is showing up in the surveillance video.
He has a yellow crowbar that's attached to his bicycle, and he's prying open the business that way. So twice at Jack's Car Wash, that's at Herndon and West. And then he hit, it used to be a Valero, now it's a 76 station at Bullard and West.
Police say the suspect is likely selling those cigarettes because they've become so expensive. There's a similar crime spree happening in the South Valley. It is 5:39 on this Thursday morning. When we come back, fighting wildfires with technology, the new system being used in Northern California. Plus, diagnosing heart attacks more quickly. We'll show you the new tool doctors are now using. Plus, Justin.
And